Okay, recording. Có recording. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh, here you go. What? Oh, wait, this. Okay. Thank you. Đầu tiên là phải đọc gì? Rồi, pilot. Đoạn đầu này chắc là sau phải cắt đi nếu mà có nó nhiều thứ quá Quyên ơi, chị đang kiểu loạn hết cả lên ấy.
Em thấy câu hỏi của chị cũng nhiều á.
Ừ.
Em ngồi em đọc đến hết câu 6 xong đến câu 18 em thấy kiểu ôi nhiều quá không đọc nữa.
Chị kiểu không biết là nên cắt nó đi hay là nên làm nó của em làm bao lâu?
Của em có em ghi là phần A B C D E F, em có F phần A B C D E F thì để trong khi đấy là phần E với cả phần A với cả phần F là phần mở đầu và phần kết thúc rồi. Thì em chỉ có tầm 4 câu.
Wow, thế là em sẽ gộp bọn nó hết vào cùng với nhau ấy đúng không?
Rồi em cho prop ở bên trong thôi.
Có khi chị cũng phải thôi để hôm nay chị ấy em xong rồi chị phải làm lại cái này nó cứ dài quá kiểu gì á. Em thấy nó dài đúng không? Chị cũng thấy nó dài đấy, chị đã cắt bớt đi rồi đấy. Cái phần này của chị chỉ được credit cái này thôi. Chị lần trước chị đặt nhiều câu hỏi close questions quá. Bây giờ mình sẽ đi vào đầu tiên là phải chào này, xong bắt đầu giới thiệu này, mục đích này rồi ok. Hello Emma, my name is Yuki and I'm conducting this interview as a part of my master research on teacher perceptions and practices of using storytelling to teach vocabulary to young learners. So this interview will take around 30 to 40 minutes. There are no right or wrong answers. I'm interested in learning about your own experiences and opinions. Everything you share will be kept confidential and used only for research purposes. Your participation is completely voluntary, and you may choose to not answer any question or stop the interview at any time. With the permission, I would like to audio record your conversation so that I can accurately transcribe and analyze the data later. So, is that okay for you?
Yes, that's okay.
Thank you. Okay, so first of all, I would like to could you brief describe your experience in teaching English to young learners?
Yeah, so I have been teaching English to young learners in 2018, and the first program that I taught is Gripsit, and until now I still teach Gripsit. So Gripsit is also a program to teach children from 4 to 12 years old, and we use songs and chants and stories to teach children in English 100%. Yes,
Oh,
and yes, and recently I have also teach a group of 6 years old learners. So in this class, I use the stories and songs I selected myself rather than following the Brexit program. Yes.
oh, nice. So normally, like what age of the student are you teaching?
Like currently I have a Brexit class in 4 years old, 4 to 5 years old, and a primary class for 6 years old students.
Oh, see, I see. So can you describe how you usually use storytelling in your English class? Like, what do you use it to teach?
So how I use it to teach is I mean like the purposes of using story to teach English is vary because it based on the main aim of that lesson. For example, for Brexit, so in the beginning stage we use songs I mean, like still the same stories to teach vocabulary and phrases, like the basic one. But then when we move to the middle stage, we focus more on a long sentence or a particular grammar or like present simple, present continuous. And then to the very last stage, the story is like just like a foundation for the student to retell the story or to tell a different story in a similar topic using the vocabulary and the structures they learned from that story. So that I mean, like the purposes are varied.
Oh, I see. So what kind of stories do you usually use?
In Brexit program, I don't have a choice. I use the story they give in the program, but most of them based on the Western culture. It's different from our Asian culture, you know, when the story in Asian is more like they intertwine the moral lessons in the story. But with the Western story, it different. It's just like simple and basic story about things that happens naturally. So in my 6 years old classes, I choose a story from like from the interest of the student. Sometimes I use graded reader books, or sometimes I use I, I mean more the fable things. Yeah, it's based on the purpose of the lesson.
Oh, I see. So, like from your experience, what do you think are the benefits of using storytelling to teach vocabulary to young learners?
What I have to say, there are many benefits, many advantages of using storytelling to teach vocabulary. The first thing is you can use the story as a specific context to teach vocabulary. So in this way, the student can encounter the words as a part of the meaningful situation rather than isolated items. Uh,
Oh,
yes. So I think that in this way, the children can understand the word through the plot or through the facial expression of the characters in the story or the teacher's expression. Like for an example, when teacher teach the word frightened, so in the story they can see the plot or the situation where the character felt frightened or the expressions of the teacher on their facial expression. Yes. And the second one is because that is a story that student enjoys a lot, it creates a very, how do I say, a very comfortable environment. Just like they read the story at home with their parents, so it will reduce anxieties or reduce the pressure of learning and testing for the student. So they learn the vocabulary and they learn the language naturally, just like the
yeah.
first language. Yes.
So, how does storytelling compare with, other ways of teaching vocabulary? Like,
Other ways. So let me think. Otherwise, I'm thinking of a class, a, s- a class of my another class of my a higher level. So in that class, I teach vocabulary isolatedly. Like I gave them a list of vocabulary and asked them to learn by heart through the flashcard or translation and drilling exercises. So compared to that type of teaching vocabulary, I think learning vocabulary in the story is more meaningful and more useful, so the children can use the vocabulary in their real life context. It's easier for them because like it's transfer naturally, you know. But where,
yes,
but with the list with the drilling exercises, it's easier for the older students to apply the vocabulary in the exercise or in the testing. But it's difficult for them to use them in the real life because you know there are tons of words they need to remember. Yes.
yes,
So that is, I think, it is a pros and cons of each. When you learn the vocabulary with the stories, you can learn about I mean, maximum 10 words in a story. But when you learn for testing, you need to learn more than that.
Yeah, for the older students, like, what do you mean by the older students? Like, what age of the older students?
For the older student, I mean like for the secondary and higher and high school students, like from
Oh,
12 and above. Yes.
I see. So, like, on the other side, what challenges have you experienced when using storytelling to teach vocabulary?
Hmm. I think the most significant challenge that I faced is um, teaching abstract vocabulary.
Mm,
Yes, for an example, I have this in my class. Like when I teach 7 days a week,
mm,
it's difficult to describe student like what is Monday, what is Monday
oh,
and what is Tuesday, because because it depends on the student's cognition. Like they don't know what is Monday actually, and then we cannot bring something up like, hey, this is Monday, you see.
mm, mm,
Uh, and then you have to use for example the calendar or some examples like on Monday you do this, but on Sunday you do that. Normally with some smart students,
mm.
they understand it quite quickly, but with some students who are very not familiar with that conception, it's difficult for me to elaborate on that conception for them.
I see. So, like, do you remember any kind of like other time when the storytelling lesson didn't go as planned? Like, apart from like unfamiliar words or abstract words, like you said?
Mm, so I think like it is about the topic also. For an example, when I teach group sit, I don't have a chance to choose the top. I mean, like the stories. You know, they gave me the like an order, a fixed
Mm,
order, so I have to use it. And then some of my students they don't like stories about food, and when it comes, they refuse to listen. So it is really challenging for me to draw their attention and to raise their enthusiasm to learn or to participate in the activities within that stories.
oh, I see. So, what factors do you think usually lead to these challenges?
The factor. What do you mean by factor?
Like, you said that like because you have to follow the fixed sequence of the center that gave you. So,
Mhm.
apart from it, maybe there are some other factors like um, the abstract words that you said, and any other kind of factors.
So I think more another factor is the time limitation because
Mm.
each lesson I have only about 40 to 45 minutes to use all of the sequence chants, songs and stories. So it's left me little time to facilitate or to help the weaker student understand the vocabulary or to use the vocabulary in the context.
Oh, I see. So, um, have how have you dealt with these challenges?
So one of my most strategies that I usually use is that I personally I reduce the number of words that I expected the student to learn actively. So, for an example, before the story, we have some flashcards that we teach the student. So normally, before I normally expect that the student have to understand all of them, and I emphasize on every single word. But now I choose to reduce that expectation. That for a lesson, the student just need to focus or to understand about 2 to 3 words in that, because that flashcard will be repeated in the next and the next lessons. Yeah. So
Oh, I see.
yeah. So I think that is a good choice for both me and for my students. Yeah.
Yes.
Another
Apart from, yeah, yeah, please.
Yes, and another one is I use plain examples for the gesture, facial expression to demonstrate the meaning of that vocabulary. And sometimes I just give like a personal stories or experience of mine to share so the student can understand and they want to share their similar experience. So that is a way that I help the student to understand the abstract word.
Yes. So, are there any challenges that you still find, you still find difficult to overcome? And, like,
Yes, that is the one. That is the one thing, because I don't see myself as a natural improvisational teacher. Like I don't usually come up with some very excellent examples or excellent activities. Like that's are unplanned. So it's difficult for me. Even when I'm preparing my lesson plan, I'm preparing the activities for them. I'm not so creative at that. So it takes a lot of time for me to prepare it. Yeah.
okay. So, what additional support would help you to use storytelling more effectively for vocabulary teaching? Like, apart from your effort to prepare for that, what additional support?
I think like I would like to like whenever I for my private class, like for the class for 6 years old student, um, whenever I looking for a story, I always looking for something that has a guided lesson plan or guided activity along with it. So I think that that support can reduce my preparing time. Yeah. So it will give me some options to pick from, and with that option, I can edit it to fit my teaching context to fit to my students.
I see. So now we're coming to the reported practices. So when do you plan a storytelling lesson? How do you usually prepare to teach vocabulary?
Mm. So as I said before, like in every lesson, we have flashcard with pictures. So it's different, a little bit different from different stages. In the beginning stage, I will be the person who reads the flashcard first, and the student listen and repeat it. And from the middle stage, I would ask the student to read the vocabulary first, and then I'm the one who repeat it correctly, so the student can listen and can repair. Yes. And for the last stage, I'm gonna ask one of the students to come up to pretend to be a teacher. So they will read the vocabulary and then their friend will listen and repeat. So that is how I teach the vocabulary. And then after that, after reading isolated vocabulary from the flashcard, it's come to the storytelling. The storytelling will be different in different stages as well. Uh, Sometimes I will be the storyteller. Sometimes one of my students will tell a part of the story, and they point the next one to continue the story. So after that storytelling stage, it would be the question Q&A, or some kind of like reflection from the student after the story reading.
Yeah, I see. So like from the very beginning, like what do you usually consider when choosing a story? Like what factor to make you to choose that story to teach it for that class?
The first one, it needs to be appropriate in English level. For example, when the student of mine they are in A1 level, so I choose the story that consists only simple sentence only, so it's easy for a student to understand. and the as well the vocabulary will be easy and very basic, and it easy for illustration in the picture, yeah.
Mm,
So that is the first priority. The second one is a topic, like whether my student like that topic is difficult because some of my students they don't like dinosaurs topic, and some of my
mm,
students they don't like princess topic. So I have to choose something in between.
I see. So, uh, how do you decide like which new words to teach for that for that story?
So the vocab to teach is, I think like the words that connected to the current story, to the main theme of the story or the topic, and some keywords are necessary for the student to understand the plot of the story as well. Um, yeah, so they are the two things, the two bullet points that I used to consider to teach vocabulary.
Yeah, I see. So, like before telling the story, you said that you will uh make help students to understand the meaning of the vocabulary first.
Yes.
So, what kind of like material or resources like do you usually use to help students before telling the story?
Normally that is a flashcard and then activity. So like in my private class, like so that is a flashcard first. They listen and repeat, so they understand. Like not understand entirely, but like they know how to pronounce it, the vocabulary, and then comes to the activity where they can match the word or the sound with the picture. So with that task, I think like it helps me to see like, whether they understand the word or not. Yeah, and then become the storyteller.
Okay, so like why do you do that way to introduce the vocabulary to students?
I think it's easier for me to control or to know like whether the student understand the key vocabulary or not. And it's necessary for the student like if they understand the vocabulary, it's easier for them to understand the story, to understand the entire plot of the story. For an example, um, with the story like the Hunger Caterpillar. Yes, a very basic one. So there are two main types of vocabulary in that story. The first one is that 7 days a week, and the second one are some types of fruits that the caterpillar ate. Right. So, for example, in the some first lessons, the student will need to understand like what is an apple, what is a grapes, and the plum. So with that words, it is easier for the children to follow the story page by page. Yeah.
I see. So, like while telling the story, how do you usually teach the new words? Like, could you give me an example from the own storytelling lesson, like when you teach the new words while telling the story?
So while I am telling them the story, I point to the picture that illustrate the vocabulary, and in some like in some cases, I also use my my gesture or my facial expression to express the meaning of that word. Like for example, the word amazing, I was like showing my face like so the students understand that this is kind of amazing. When we are amazed, we show that kind of facial expression.
So, what do you usually ask students to do while during storytelling, like with the new words that you are teaching?
Actually, like while I am telling the story, I don't ask the student to do much, but focus on listening. And it's easy for me to it's easier for me to notice that whether the student are focused or not, because if they are focused on the story, they will copycat my facial expression. Like if they understand, they will copycat my facial expression, and if they don't, they will show like, what are you saying? So it's easy for me to like emphasize on the word or to like to help the student understand that abstract meaning or the word that they don't know after the storytelling.
Yeah. So, like after the storytelling, what do you usually do to help students practice and use the new words?
Normally it's like a receptive vocabulary activities, some kind of matching words with picture or pointing to the correct picture, or select or listen and select an object or select a character. Or sometimes it like look around the classroom and come and get me something.
Nice. Um, could you describe like for an example one activity that you usually use, like for example the games, the storytelling, the retelling, or role plays, so on.
Mm. For a role play, it's role play is not some activities I usually use in my class due to the students' uh, English level proficiency. But for because they are very young, so one of my most frequent activities, like I ask the student to go around the classroom and find me the object that has some features. For example, red and round. Uh, for some like big and blue, something like that.
Oh, I see. So you will ask them to comply with the physical activities.
Yes, and then they will come and introduce the object to the class. Mm.
I see. So you think that is the most uh, effective activities for your students? Why?
I'm not so confident to say that is the most effective, but it is effective for my students because with that the student can they they can I don't know how to use that word, they can to say năng lượng, right? They can uh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, so in that way they can have run around and jumping around to reduce their energy, uh, and meanwhile they still do something that related to the lesson, and
Mm,
that it's easier for them to focus on the next activity, I think.
see. Uh, so how do you usually check whether students have learned the new words yet?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Um, s- Sorry. How do you usually check whether students have already understand or learned the new words?
I mean that I think it is the whole process, not like one lesson, but the whole course, like through the questions, the Q&A after the storytelling, whether the student can answer the question or not. So I can understand that do they actually know the vocabulary or not.
Yes. So how do you usually help them, like remember or reuse these words in the later lessons?
I mean, like something like some kind of questions or activities that can recall them to use a vocabulary in their real life situation. Some of my students, they are very talkative. They always share their story at home in English with me before the class and after the class. Yeah,
Mm,
so in that way, I can understand that they can use this word in the daily life.
okay. So like in the next lesson, will you like reuse that vocabulary or
Yes, of course, I reuse that vocabulary, because like for young learner, repetition is important, and they love repetition. So I use the same set of vocabulary but with different activities.
thank you. So before we finish, is there anything else about like you using storytelling to teach vocabulary that you would like to share?
I think that I have mentioned everything that I want to tell.
Thank you. Thank you for the participating. Thank you for the time. Let me just stop the recording. Recording. I'm driving. Stop the recording.